and they were able to get to the DP camp. And the DP camp that they went to was that their other cousins that were waiting to come to the United States was Schwäbisch Hall. And there were many of my father's cousins in Schwäbisch Hall. Was a DP camp. Moshe Rubin's father, Yossi Rubin, who just passed away, and his wife Edith Mandel, who wrote that book about the Holocaust that we have, and Mikey Mandel's parents. Mikey Mandel, Judy Mandel there was a cousin who was like a relative, and their name was Cohn, and they moved to, so they were there as well. And everybody got on a wait list, either to come to the United States or to go to Israel. In Israel, it was like a 6 month wait list, especially after May 1948. It was very easy to get to Israel after May 1948.
6 months was easy?
Maybe even less, because the DP camp, they fed you. There was like a kitchen, you had food.
No, 6 months wasn't that long. Well, the 6 month waiting list was not that long.
No, it was not that long to get into Israel, especially after May 1948 when the State of Israel was established. After Hay in 1948, the State of Israel was established. Of course, there were get people coming in by the thousands. But in the United States, they had quotas. Even under President Truman, the Democratic who was very pro-Jewish, and ended up being very pro-Israel because of him, really, Israel became established, and they went to the United Nations, and it became a nation, and he was very concerned about the refugees. Unlike President Roosevelt, who they say knew exactly where the concentration camps were and where they were burning the death camps, and he got plans, and they say that President Roosevelt deliberately could have bombed at least the railways to the thing to stop the killing of the Jews. And there's a person that wrote a book, While the 6 Million Died, about this. It's a famous book. But Roosevelt, what he did was, and the reason why he didn't do that is because he felt that American soldiers would be in jeopardy because they were fighting then on both fronts, to fight in Germany. And he felt that if there were a whole bunch of people would be busy killing the Jews, unfortunately, they would have less soldiers to fight the Americans. So bottom line is there was a long list and there was a quota, and you had to be sponsored. You couldn't just get into the United States without. You had to be sponsored, that you knew that somebody was going to give you a job, that you had gainful employment, and it took like 18 months or more, 2 years. Luckily, these cousins had 2 uncles here. My father had 2 uncles. My father and his first cousins had 2 uncles. These 2 uncles were Spitzers. My grandmother, Pearl Spitzer's 2 brothers, were the only 2 of that generation that survived the Holocaust, because they had come earlier. Uncle Harry Spitzer, who lived in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and Uncle A.B. Spitzer. So Uncle A.B. Spitzer is my father's uncle. He lived in Borough Park. He was an observant Jew, and they both sponsored all their nieces and nephews to come to the United States, but some didn't want to go. There was a cousin that his name was Cohn, K-O-H-N. He was on a list to come to the United States, and his name was Joseph Cohn. My father was Moshe Hyman. Joseph Cohn, Yosef Cohn, who was actually a Kohen. What happened was that my mother became pregnant with Esther. This was probably about March of 1949, and they were on a list to come to the United States. This was March of 1949. They were on the list to come to the United States, and they had to wait another year or so, and Esther would be born in the DP camps. So they were really pretty desperate for Esther to be born in the United States. And They wanted to come to the United States early. So they went ahead and they decided that they were going to come to the United States. So in the DP camp, they switched identities. So they switched identities with Joseph Cohn, who went to Israel. But he never rescinded his list to come to the United States. He never withdrew his application to come to the United States. So he and his wife, they were about the same age. They were a little younger. Joseph Cohn was born in 1923. That's why you'll see something that was born in 1923.
So,
that's Joseph Cohn.
May 19th to here. May 19th. May 17th to 1920, 1923.
That was Joseph Cohn's birthday. My father was about 6 years older than that. And he was born in 1917.
And this is your father, or?
Yes, that's my father, Joseph Moshe, Moshe Hyman, who became Joseph Cohn.
And this is his. And this is the passport. This is a
visa.
It says United States Department of Justice, Immigration and Naturalization Service, Alien Registration Receipt Card, Registration Number 71.
Yeah, that's his green card. What was called a green card at the time. It's still called a green card.
Yeah, green card. Or visa.
And he got that when he got to the United States, but he was registered already to come here. So Uncle Harry and Uncle Abe sponsored him and my mother, and they came to the United States when? What was the date there?
June 26, 1949.
June 26, 1949. And they came to the United States through a great organization called HIAS, H-I-A-S, a Hebrew Immigration and Service. I forgot what the A is. Alliance something. And they gave them some money and settled them.
But did they go on a boat?
They went on a boat. Yeah.
Was it long and if they were in Germany in a DP camp?
Right. So the boat was about a 2 week.
Where'd they get on? Was it a train and then the boat?
A train and then a boat. You went on a boat and you came to the United States. I think it took about, I'm not sure, but about 2 weeks or 3 weeks to get to the port, to get to New York City.
Did they say anything about the boat ride?
It wasn't such a great boat ride, but it was a passenger boat ride. So it was not a freight boat ride. So that was good. They didn't ride first class, but they had passage to go, and this was all arranged with the government, with the American government. That Joseph Cohn and Magda Ehrenfeld was her name, and that she came that was her maiden name. So they came to the United States and they settled in Borough Park, and they first lived in an attic apartment in some place in Borough Park on 11th Avenue. They showed me once where it is, but then they moved to 1236 42nd Street. 1236 42nd Street.
So this is Esther was born
in December 21st, 1949.
December.
21st.
So December. So
they born 6 months after they got to the United States. After they got to the United States, she was born. You could see some dates that my father wrote down of his real birthday.
So
I'm not sure what the first date is, because
9/28/21.
9/28/21.
Maybe that's the day his father
9/28/21. 1921. 1920. I'm not sure what that date is. Okay.
Wait, couldn't it have been when his father died?
No, he died in 41, 42.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Well, let's see. But then there's a date called January.
Or when one of his siblings was born.
Could be.
When his older sister.
No, younger. He was born in 17. January 17, 1970.
So yeah, one of his younger sisters.
You see there? January 17, 1917?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's and 7/18/40. 7.
I think 1847 is when they applied for naturalization for the United States, and they got to in July. It took them a few months to get from Romania to the DP camp. So I think that's the date they got to the DP camp, or the date that they applied for citizenship.
So how long did they stay in total for the DP camps?
It seems that it was about 23 months they were there, right? So 7. If they got there July 47, July 47.
July.
And,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
July.
Then they left in June of 1949.
Okay.